All right, I think it's important to take a long view of things in general, and that's true for this GTI that we've been talking about. So I don't randomly hoard parts, but I do like to have on-hand parts that I think could cause a problem in the future. And that's what this is, along with some things that are unique, supplies that are unique to taking care of this car. So there's no reason to separate. These items should all stay with the car. As far as transportation, this is bulky stuff, so I'm not sure, ideally come pick up the car with a trailer and then put this stuff in the trailer along with the car. It's obviously not the only way, but that's the way that comes to mind. So what do we have? Let's start at the other end here. The car has an aftermarket replacement tank. That is common on these cars. It's beyond the scope of a full discussion of it's beyond what this video is, but be that as it may, this is the OEM original tank, fully reconditioned and refurbished inside and out, and should go with the car because it is correct for the car. And I'll include a picture of the thing out of the box. And then here we have two boxes, each with two of the OEM Avis or Snowflake wheels that have been professionally reconditioned. They are fully padded, packaged, etc. So I will just include a picture of them outside the box. And those are the originals for the car, so they should go with the car, in my opinion. This, I'm not going to unwrap it, but it looks just like the one on the car. This is a perfect driver's side, left side, so the outer seat bolster foam with perfect cloth, just in case. This I also haven't unwrapped. Hope you take my word for it. There's no reason not to, I don't think. This is a roll of new old stock, 100% correct, impossible to find otherwise, seat cloth. And it's full width, so you could either do one rear seat with it, or the way they do it is they split it down the middle and you can do the front seats. This is a spare fuel distributor. These are available reconditioned from Bosch for $1,600, or you can have a good used unit, such as this one. Just cleaned up and refurbished. This is the lambda control or the frequency valve, $350 used. Off a known running car, also just cleaned up and refurbished. These are intake boots, and if they crack, you get a massive air leak and the car won't run right. It's one of the common causes of a stumbling CIS injected car. So having correct boots in perfect condition on hand, I think, is prudent. This thing here, this is a new old stock. I got it from Latvia. The one in the car is fine, but it never hurts to have a spare. This is the boot that covers the universal joints of the steering shaft from the firewall down to the steering rack. And these are in a challenging environment with the heat and oil, the vapors and such, that never hurts to have one on hand. These are, for no particular reason, I got an extra set by accident. These are front suspension bump stops. Won't need them, so they go with the car. This is another common item that can cause a lot of headaches. This is the heater control valve. So hot water can pass through here if you move this lever. If these start to leak, aftermarket units are available, and they are as bad or worse than a 40-year-old leaking OEM unit, so it never hurts to have an original OEM on hand. These are just random little gaskets and seals that I accidentally ordered more of without knowing that I had some already. This is the original shift linkage. The car has a weighted shift linkage, which makes it feel a little bit better, but it is not correct. So here's the original. Here are two OEM, not aftermarket axles with about 100,000 miles on them, cleaned up, refurbished with new Lowbro. Those are the high quality, durable boots. And these are the correct spec for the GTI. This is not a car part. This is a tool that I have no need for anymore. It goes with the car. This is a jacking rig. It's a steel tube, square tube. This rubber puck goes on the jack. This rubber puck goes on the rear engine mount. And these go on the control arm mounts. And what this allows you to do is to jack the entire front end at once. If you do one side at a time, it tends to twist the shell. It's not very good for it. So it's nice to be able to jack the entire front end at once. This goes with the car. I have no use for it. This is a CIS pressure tester. I use this every year. I have a video entitled, I think it's titled, How to Check CIS Pressures. So if you want to go to the channel and see how to do that, I didn't make a video specifically for this car, but I have one. I have a video showing how to do it on a Scirocco, and it's the same exact procedure. I have no need for that after this car goes, so this can go with the car. And I recommend doing that regularly. It's what keeps these cars from running perfect. It keeps these cars running perfectly. And then I don't need the book for it. It's well used. It's got fingerprints and stuff and a little bit wear on the edges, but it's perfectly serviceable and goes with the car. And then the pièce de résistance. This is a 1.8 JH from an 83. And it is has about 100,000 miles on it. It is not ready to go, but it is very close. I just have the head placed on the short block with one bolt just to keep everything together. So with a head gasket and a set of head bolts, and then the valve cover, the oil pan, etc. This one will be ready to go. I drove the car home from Pennsylvania that I got this engine from. Didn't burn any oil, and it behaved perfectly. The thing that's good about this particular engine, it is from the transition period between 83s and 84s, just like the GTI that I'm listing is. And the reason that's important, this here is part of the injector air shrouding setup. So this pumps cold air across the injector tips. Earlier engines didn't have that. And that keeps the injector tips a little bit cooler, and it keeps them from vapor locking, so it helps prevent hot start problems. Now the reason that's important is this is exactly what the car in the garage has. This has the air shroud setup from 84, but it has the unshrouded injector cups. The one in the car in the garage is the same. This is correct for the car. And the injectors on the car are the unshrouded injectors, which is correct for that car. This car was the same. That's important, because if you don't know that and you unwittingly order parts and don't understand, you can try to put the wrong injectors into the wrong cups. And it's important to have the correct cups that go with the correct injectors that's correct for the engine. You can change these cups out to the later brass ones and use shrouded injectors. There's no reason to do that. The car runs perfectly with the setup that it has, and it's correct for that car. So if you see this type of inconsistency, don't be put off by that. It was a common thing in the transition between 83 and 84, and this engine is exactly the same spec as the one in the car. I replaced the outer intermediate shaft bearing on this engine. The old one was pretty good, but these wear out actually, in my experience, this is the first bearing to wear out even under normal usage on these engines, so I replaced it. And the rig is just a little setup I made to be able to carry the engine around, so two people can, one person grabbing here, another person grabbing on the other side, and this engine can be hauled around easily up and down the stairs and such. And since it's a spare and I have no immediate, I never had immediate plans to use it, it just needed to be able to be stored easily and moved around easily to sweep the floor, things like that. And then it's covered with a plastic bag usually. And I keep a light film of lubricant all over everything to keep it fresh. So those are just things to hopefully make the next 50 years of the car's life as hassle-free as possible.